Imagine your morning coffee paid for with a tap, your digital identity unlocking every door in a hyper-connected world, and global events unfolding not in distant headlines, but on the screen in your palm. This isn't science fiction. This is your everyday reality. But what if this seamless existence, this ultimate convenience we've been conditioned to crave, is actually the ultimate deception? What if the very comfort, the perceived security we've embraced, is precisely what makes us vulnerable? The Book of Revelation, often dismissed as abstract prophecy, isn't merely a roadmap to destruction. It's a profound psychological profile of humanity's susceptibility, a chilling prophecy of why Christians would, ironically, find themselves fearing not the overt evil of the Antichrist. This isn't about if the Antichrist comes, but how the world is being primed, right now, for his benevolent tyranny, and how our modern fears are being expertly weaponized against our faith. In the next 55 minutes, we're going to unravel this hidden reason, peeling back the layers of ancient texts and modern realities. We will explore 3 key historical patterns that echo the rise of global powers, revealing 5 converging technologies that are making the prophetic mark not just plausible, but practically inevitable. We will outline 4 distinct phases of the Antichrist's ascent, from his initial geopolitical emergence to his ultimate, terrifying but short-lived reign. And by the end, you'll possess a robust framework for discernment, armed with insights into the specific chronological markers, the 7-year covenant, the midweek betrayal, the 1260 days of tribulation that act as a metronome for these final events. This journey will expose what we call the predictive paradox, the counterintuitive truth that the very systems designed for our comfort, global stability, and technological efficiency are the same ones subtly preparing the ground for the ultimate test of faith, making the Antichrist's arrival not a sudden shocking invasion, but a logical, almost welcomed next step in humanity's quest for order. The stakes couldn't be higher. Ignore these subtle shifts around you, and you risk not only spiritual compromise, but potentially losing your livelihood, your place in society, your very ability to participate in the most basic transactions. But the gain, the profound payoff, is an unshakable clarity, a peace that transcends earthly turmoil, and a readiness that transforms fear into purposeful action. You are called to become not a passive observer, but a discerning sentinel, equipped to navigate the coming storm with hope and courage. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will change how you see the world forever. You see, the common image of the Antichrist is often one of a monstrous, overtly evil tyrant, bursting forth from chaos, wielding brute force in a sudden, shocking invasion. But what if that dramatic, terrifying entrance is precisely the misconception that leaves us vulnerable? What if the Book of Revelation, in its profound wisdom, predicted something far more insidious, far more logical, and in a chilling sense, almost welcomed by a world desperate for order? This is the heart of what we call the predictive paradox, the counterintuitive truth that the very systems we design for our comfort, for global stability, for technological efficiency, those sleek apps, those seamless transactions, those smart infrastructures that promise a better life, are the same ones subtly preparing the ground. They are not just incidental backdrops. They are the fertile soil for what's to come. Think about it. We here in the United States have become accustomed to a level of digital integration that was unimaginable just a generation ago. Your morning commute, your grocery run, your healthcare appointments, all increasingly managed by interconnected networks. We crave solutions. We demand efficiency. When a crisis hits, whether it's a pandemic or an economic downturn, we look for a strong hand, a unifying vision, a system that can cut through the noise and deliver stability. And that, my friend, is where the Antichrist's arrival won't be a sudden, shocking invasion, but rather a logical, almost inevitable next step in humanity's quest for ultimate order. Imagine a world plagued by division, by economic instability, by seemingly insurmountable global challenges. Then, a figure emerges, not with a sword, but with solutions, not with overt tyranny, but with irresistible promises of peace, prosperity, and security. This is not about an alien force descending, but about an internal evolution, a societal shift that makes his ascent not just possible, but palatable. We're talking about a world so deeply intertwined with systems built for our comfort that resisting a new, globally integrated solution would feel like cutting off your own lifeline. Every tap of your digital wallet, every biometric scan for entry, every personalized recommendation from an algorithm, these aren't just modern conveniences. They are subtle rehearsals, conditioning us for a future where seamless participation in society is contingent upon adherence to a single, all-encompassing system. But how exactly do these seemingly benevolent systems morph into the very instruments of prophetic control? And what does this mean for your daily life, for your ability to buy, to sell, to simply exist outside the coming framework? Hold on to that thought, because in moments, we'll peel back the layers of this digital conditioning. Hold on to that thought, because in moments, we'll peel back the layers of this digital conditioning. We're talking about a world so deeply intertwined with systems built for our comfort that resisting a new, globally integrated solution would feel like cutting off your own lifeline. Think about your daily routine. From the moment your alarm clock app goes off, to scanning your phone for a morning coffee at Starbucks, to tapping your credit card on a reader at the grocery store, your entire existence is a seamless dance with digital infrastructure. Every tap of your digital wallet, every biometric scan for entry into your office building, every personalized recommendation from an algorithm shaping your newsfeed, these aren't just modern conveniences. They are subtle rehearsals, conditioning us for a future where seamless participation in society is contingent upon adherence to a single, all-encompassing system. Now, consider the profound psychological shift happening right before our eyes. We've become so accustomed to instantaneous gratification, to the idea that every problem has a technological fix. We crave efficiency. Here's the chilling reality. Nearly 80% of Americans now rely on digital payments, and a staggering number can barely imagine a day without their smartphone. That's not just a statistic. It's a demonstration of how deeply integrated these systems are. What happens when the lines between convenience and control blur entirely? What happens when the alternative to a unified digital identity means being locked out of the very infrastructure you need to survive? We're not talking about a sudden dramatic takeover, but a gradual, almost imperceptible tightening of the digital noose. And this brings us to what we call the comfort trap. It's the insidious mechanism by which our desire for ease and security is leveraged, turning our own preferences into the chains that bind us. The Antichrist won't need to force compliance through overt violence initially. The system itself will be so appealing, so seemingly necessary, that resisting it will feel like an act of self-sabotage. You'll be choosing to be an outcast, to face economic hardship, perhaps even social ostracization. That's the hidden reason why the Book of Revelation predicted such fear. Not just fear of a beast, but fear of being unable to buy, to sell, to exist within the framework of a new world order. In the next segment, we'll explore how this comfort trap is manifesting through 5 converging technologies, making ancient prophecies not just plausible, but practically inevitable. Now, let's dive into these 5 converging technologies, each a thread meticulously woven into the fabric of what we call the predictive paradox, subtly preparing the world for a system where resistance becomes an act of self-sabotage. The first, and perhaps most foundational, is the relentless march towards universal digital identity. Think about it. From logging into your bank to boarding a flight at JFK, your identity is increasingly tied to digital verification. Companies like Clear, or even government initiatives around digital driver's licenses, promise unparalleled convenience, a seamless flow through daily life. But here's the catch. What happens when that digital ID isn't just a convenience, but a mandatory gateway to participation? What if your ability to buy groceries, access healthcare, or even vote in an election is predicated on a single, centralized digital profile. This isn't some distant sci-fi scenario. It's already taking root with discussions in Washington and Silicon Valley about secure, interoperable digital credentials. The allure is undeniable. Enhanced security against fraud, streamlined services, a supposedly more efficient society. Yet, it creates an unprecedented single point of failure, a chokehold on individual liberty. This isn't about blaming the developers or policymakers. It's about recognizing the inherent vulnerability in systems designed for total integration. Now, hold on to that thought, because the second piece of this puzzle is already being tested in financial labs across the globe. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Imagine a digital dollar issued directly by the Federal Reserve, replacing physical cash. The promise is alluring: instant transactions, greater financial inclusion, a powerful tool against illicit activities. No more fumbling for change at your local Starbucks. No more waiting days for a bank transfer. Sounds fantastic, right? But here's where the comfort trap tightens its grip. Unlike cash, a CBDC is programmable money. It could come with expiration dates, or even restrictions on what you can spend it on or where. Think about the implications. A government could, in theory, limit your purchases of certain goods, or even freeze your funds if your behavior is deemed undesirable. The ease of a cashless society, the efficiency of digital transactions, becomes a Trojan horse for unprecedented financial control. We've seen glimpses of this power in other nations, where social credit scores dictate economic participation. And this isn't just theoretical. Major financial institutions are actively researching and piloting these systems. The convenience, the sheer ease of living within such a system would be immense. But resisting it, choosing to opt out, would mean stepping outside the entire economic framework, facing the very fears of being unable to buy or sell that Revelation so starkly predicts. This is the subtle, almost imperceptible shift, where our desire for a smoother, more efficient life inadvertently paves the way for a future we once only read about in ancient texts. We're not talking about overt force here, but a system so integrated, so seemingly beneficial, that choosing not to comply becomes an act of societal suicide. Imagine the subtle hum of a smart city, where every transaction, every movement, every digital interaction is seamlessly woven into a single interconnected fabric. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's the future being built, piece by piece, right here in plain sight. Major financial institutions, from Wall Street to Silicon Valley, aren't just theorizing about these systems. They're actively researching, piloting, and refining them. They see efficiency, security, and unprecedented convenience. But you, the discerning viewer, must see past the glittering facade. The sheer ease of living within such a system would be immense. Your morning coffee paid for with a glance. Your digital identity unlocking every door. Your health records instantly accessible for seamless care. It sounds like progress, doesn't it? A smoother, more efficient life, free from the friction of cash or cumbersome cards. But resisting it, choosing to opt out, would mean stepping outside the entire economic framework. It would mean facing the very fears of being unable to buy or sell that Revelation so starkly predicts, not through overt force, but through a system so integrated, so seemingly beneficial, that choosing not to comply becomes an act of societal suicide. This is the subtle, almost imperceptible shift, where our desire for a smoother, more efficient life inadvertently paves the way for a future we once only read about in ancient texts. We are not talking about a sudden, monstrous invasion, but a gradual, almost benevolent tyranny, where the lines between necessary integration and prophetic compromise blur beyond recognition. Think about how easily we've adopted contactless payments, digital IDs for travel, or even vaccine passports in recent memory. Each step, presented as a solution to a problem, chips away at the old ways, making way for the new. Now, here's a crucial insight. The real fear isn't just what this system will demand, but what you stand to lose by refusing it. Your ability to work, to travel, to access healthcare, to simply exist within society could hinge on your compliance. This is what we call the predictive paradox, the counterintuitive truth that the very systems designed for our comfort, global stability, and technological efficiency are the same ones subtly preparing the ground for the ultimate test of faith. It makes the Antichrist's arrival not a sudden, shocking invasion, but a logical, almost welcomed, next step in humanity's quest for order. If this Verada made sense, if this shift in perspective resonated with you, subscribe now to not miss the continuation and comment, "I want the map," and I'll release the visual summary in the pinned comment. Now let's dive deeper into how this paradox manifests in our daily lives. Consider the relentless push for central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, across the globe, including here in the United States. This isn't just about modernizing money. It's about programmability. Imagine a digital dollar that could be programmed to expire, or only be spent on certain goods, or even linked to a social credit score. The implications for individual freedom are staggering. Yet the promise of stability and control against inflation or illicit activities makes it incredibly appealing to governments and many citizens alike. This is the precise mechanism by which the ancient prophecy of "no one can buy or sell" transitions from metaphor to chilling reality. We are being conditioned, not coerced, to accept a future where convenience is king and individual liberty a forgotten relic. The question isn't if these systems are coming, but how we will navigate them. Now let's dive deeper into how this paradox manifests in our daily lives. Consider the relentless push for central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, across the globe, including here in the United States. This isn't just about modernizing money, it's about programmability. Imagine a digital dollar that could be programmed to expire, or only be spent on certain goods, or even linked to a social credit score. The implications for individual freedom are staggering. Yet the promise of stability and control against inflation or illicit activities makes it incredibly appealing to governments and many citizens alike. This is the precise mechanism by which the ancient prophecy of "no one can buy or sell" transitions from metaphor to chilling reality. We are being conditioned, not coerced, to accept a future where convenience is king and individual liberty a forgotten relic. The question isn't if these systems are coming, but how we will navigate them. But to truly understand the depth of this conditioning, you need to look beyond mere digital currency. We are talking about the predictive paradox at play, amplified by the silent, omnipresent architect shaping our digital future: artificial intelligence. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's the underpinning of nearly every major tech company in Silicon Valley, from predictive analytics in online shopping to facial recognition in our cities. AI doesn't just process data. It learns, adapts, and crucially, anticipates. Think about it. An AI-driven CBDC system could not only track every transaction, but could predict your spending habits, assess your compliance with social norms, and even flag behavior deemed undesirable long before you consciously make a choice. This isn't about some overt tyrannical beast. It's about a system so intricately woven into the fabric of daily life that resisting it would mean opting out of society itself. And here's where everything turns. This isn't simply about surveillance, but about the incentivization of conformity. Imagine an AI-powered system that grants you privileges, better loan rates, faster public services, discounts on essentials, based on your adherence to certain digital or social metrics. Conversely, non-compliance could lead to subtle but significant disadvantages, making it harder to buy a home, access certain healthcare, or even travel. The pain isn't a direct lash, but a gradual, soul-crushing erosion of opportunity. The slow tightening of a digital noose that feels at first like a gentle embrace of order. This is the hidden reason why the Book of Revelation predicted how Christians would fear the Antichrist, not because he's an obvious monster, but because the system he offers promises a perfect, stable world. and resisting it would mean facing consequences that feel personally devastating, threatening your very ability to live a normal life in America. Now, pause and consider this. The integration of AI into these financial and social systems isn't just theoretical. Major tech giants are investing billions, developing algorithms that can analyze vast swaths of personal data with unprecedented speed and accuracy. From Amazon's personalized recommendations to Google's predictive search, we are already interacting with AI that shapes our choices. But what happens when that same predictive power is applied to your financial freedom, your social standing, or even your access to basic necessities? In an instant, the line between convenience and control blurs, and the choice becomes stark: integrate or be marginalized. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. Imagine a world where your health records, your financial standing, your social credit score, and even your ability to travel are all linked to a single, immutable digital identifier. This isn't theoretical conjecture anymore. This is the bleeding edge of what major tech giants, often in partnership with governments, are actively building. Think about the ubiquitous presence of companies like Apple, Google, and Amazon in your daily life. They're not just providing services, they're constructing the very infrastructure of this hyper-connected future. From biometric authentication on your phone to the seamless, cashless transactions that are becoming the norm, these systems are designed for unparalleled efficiency and convenience. But here's the chilling truth: that same efficiency, that same convenience, is precisely what makes resistance so costly. What happens when this digital identity, this universal credential, is tied to a global system where non-compliance means you can't buy groceries, can't access healthcare, or even get to work? The fear isn't of a beast with horns, but of being locked out, marginalized, and rendered obsolete by the very systems designed to make your life easier. This is the insidious beauty of the predictive paradox in action. You're being conditioned, right now, to crave the comfort and security these integrated systems promise, even as they silently erode your autonomy. This isn't just about money. It's about access, participation, and your very place in society. It's a subtle, almost imperceptible shift, but its implications are monumental, echoing ancient prophecies about a time when no one could buy or sell without a specific mark. If this deep dive into the true cost of convenience and the mechanisms of control has resonated with you, if it's ignited a fire of discernment within your spirit, then you need to be equipped. The Vigilance Guide is waiting for you in the first link in the description and the pinned comment. Download it now and start applying these insights today, because understanding these connections is your first step towards true freedom. But before we explore the chronological markers that reveal the Antichrist's ascent, you need to grasp the historical patterns that paved the way for this moment. We've journeyed through the subtle currents shaping our world, revealing the predictive paradox at play, how the very systems promising comfort and convenience are meticulously preparing the stage for a benevolent tyranny. You've seen the historical patterns, felt the weight of modern anxieties, and glimpsed how ancient prophecies are manifesting in our hyper-connected reality. This isn't about fostering panic. It's about cultivating a lucid hope, about transforming apprehension into resolute, purposeful action. The true test isn't just recognizing the Antichrist, but discerning the insidious system that makes his reign not only possible, but almost desirable to a world craving ultimate order. Your vigilance is your shield, your informed faith, your unshakable compass in these turbulent times. If you stayed with us until this profound moment, you are more than just a viewer. You are a vital part of this community, a discerning sentinel in the making, called to stand firm. Click on the next episode right now, because there we will finally unlock the precise chronological markers, the 7-year covenant, the midweek betrayal, and the 1260 days of tribulation that act as an undeniable metronome for these final pivotal events. Prepare to see the future unfold with unprecedented precision and equip yourself to navigate it with unwavering courage.